If you want to know what I made, what I bought and how much I spent on sewing in the last month, then stay tuned. I'm going to start with what I'm wearing, which is the Doe Melilot shirt. And this is in a cotton shirting that I got from Croft Mill. I'm going to just pan you around so you can get a full length. Ever the professional, of course. If you watch my channel, you will know this. So here we have the shirt. I was hitching up a bit. It drops down lower at the back than it does at the front, and it's with a Grainline sleeve. Now it's buttoned up and it has a Mandarin style collar, and with the button band it's literally that the front folds over a couple of times and you put some interfacing on it, but there isn't a separate button band. I tried to do pattern matching for the left and the right, but it sort of matches. It went a bit skew width some way down, but I'm fine with it. I don't think there's any issue with that really. There's no yoke, so it is just one piece for the back, and obviously you have like the two panels at the front. It has bust darts. It has this nice sort of curved shaping here. Now the alterations that I made, I did a 1-inch narrow shoulder adjustment. So although that it has a Grainline sleeve, so there's no sort of set-in sleeve where the shoulder sleeve ends, I did a quick toile, and I just felt it was a bit low down on my arms, so obviously that increased the height by going on a narrow shoulder adjustment. But there's something funny about this. So it has cuffs that you add onto the actual the garment, but the cuffs, when I made them, they were like well over an inch bigger than the hole I had to attach them to. The whole shirt is French seamed, and Doe tell you to French seam it, and I don't know if I took too much material out when I French seamed it, or whether I was supposed to French seam the cuff, because it said about doing the French seams and quite clear instructions all the way through, and then when it came to the cuff it just said sew the seam and then attach it, and I couldn't work out if I was supposed to French seam the cuff, which would then make it a bit smaller than perhaps it would fit on, but it didn't tell me the instructions to do that. So I don't know if that's an error in the instructions. If you've made this, let me know whether I was supposed to have French seamed the cuff, or whether when I have done the French seams, I've just taken too much fabric out. I couldn't work out what to do. So I could have made the armhole smaller I could have made the cuff smaller to match the armhole, but then it was too tight, so I did have to undo some seams, sort of make them even smaller. But the trouble is, when you French seam, so you sew on the right side, then you flip to the wrong side, you trim it, then you flip to the wrong side and sew it. So because you've trimmed that seam, there's not really much you can sort of let out or take in, kind of thing. It was a very small seam to work with because it's only 1/4 of an inch to start with, then you're trimming it. So it is quite tricky. So I think if I make this again, I will definitely just do normal seams on it, and perhaps contact Doe and just double check, or if someone can tell me whether I was supposed to have French seamed it. There's a little bit of pulling. I feel like the way I stand, I have discussed this in one of my videos before, that I'm sort of hunched over a bit. So if my shoulders are back, then it's fine. If not, it's pulling funny, and I don't know, it feels like hitching, and it doesn't feel very comfortable on where the sleeve is sort of ending on this cuff. As you can see, it's sort of slanted down, it's not sitting sort of straight. So I don't know if I need to, if I raise the armhole, that seems to be a bit better, but then I don't want it to be too tight under my arm. I'm not really sure. Now, I think that I did, I took 1 inch out of the waist, because that's what I tend to do. So 1 inch narrow shoulder adjustment and 1 inch shortening at the waist. And I quite like this length. It tucks in well, but also I've worn this untucked. I'm just stepping miles away so you can see the full length. So I've just got a slim leg ready to wear trousers from H&M on. This is what I wore to work today, and it sort of covers my bum. So with the trousers a little bit tight perhaps, I felt that this is quite a good fit, especially around the hips, not too tight, plenty of access, almost a bit too much like at the waist. I could almost take that in a bit, and certainly up here. I originally cut a size which was too small, so then I reprinted and then graded up. Let me just check what size I made actually. Excuse me while I refer to my bullet journal. I made a size 44 grading to a 46 inch because the 46 inch would have just given me the right amount of ease around my hips. Yeah, shortened 1 inch at the waist and did a 1 inch narrow shoulder adjustment. And the good thing about this pattern is that I had heard people say, oh, you can do it for less than a metre. I was like, that is rubbish. How can you do it for a metre? But you can. I took a photo and I measured it with a tape measure and I cut this hole up, so effectively 46 because that's the widest point with the hips. So size 46, and it came out just under 1 metre. So I was really pleased with that, and it just means that if I want to make this again and I want to buy some more fabric, I can buy a metre and I can get a shirt out of it, which I think is really good. Obviously this pattern does have an option for a long sleeve. I think going into spring, a short sleeve is a better option for me. I just need to, it just feels tight, it just feels pulling on my arms. So if you can let me know if you have any ideas of why perhaps it's not sitting that comfortably. It could just be because it's a grown-on sleeve rather than set in the sleeve. Comment down below and just let me know any adjustments I need to make for next time, because that would be really helpful. I picked this fabric because it was from a colour palette and I'm really happy with it. It's really nice blue, and I found a really good match on the cotton actually, because I bought this to match a fabric that I'd bought a completely different fabric, and it matches both. And that was using my thread chart, so I have a printed, let me get it. So I have a Gutermann thread chart, and it is just the photo one. So they're not actual threads, they are just the photos. But I chose from using that with my fabric, and it came out, once the thread came, it was, I just ordered it off eBay. It was a perfect match, and this thread chart was like £2.50, and it's really good because half the time when I order fabric, I forget to order the coordinating thread, and then I don't always have time, or it's not always that convenient to then go into town just for a roll of reel of thread, because I'm having to pay for car park and things, so that will add to the cost, or else I can just get it with a free delivery and order it on eBay, usually from a small shop or something, and then that's that. So I have shown this before. This is really good. I got mine from So Essential in the UK, but I know that other brands have them, and you can probably get them in different countries as well. But I was just saying, I tried it out, ordered with that, and it came out really good. But I'll show you my second make. Being a cool winter palette, black is one of my neutral colours in my colour palette. This fabric was given to me as part of an Instagram competition when I won from Claire from Stitch Hem Sew. She has a channel you might want to check out. I'll link down below in the description box. And so this is from her stash. So it's a polyester. Normally I wouldn't buy polyester because I prefer a natural fibre, but I think this top will look great with just like a cotton vest top underneath. I have just put this on without the vest top underneath because I was being lazy, and I haven't ironed this because I did iron the sleeve when I was making it and I burnt a hole in it. So I didn't want to rush because I have added bias binding. This is, right, slow down. I need to tell you what it is. It's a Sew Over It, it's the Sew Over It Ravello top, and it's the beach cover up. This is from the ebook, the Summer Dreaming wardrobe. And so I have made different patterns from that ebook of patterns before, but I haven't made the beach cover up. So I'll step back so you can see. So it is all the seam to finish with bias binding. I just bought a poly cotton bias binding rather than made my own, because with it being polyester, normally I prefer my own bias binding out of the same fabric, because then you can't see if it's popping out or if it's gone on a bit wonky. But I thought this will be so slippery to cut out, there's no way, and I'll just end up burning the bias binding. So the bias binding is a little bit stiffer than the main fabric, but I'm fine with it. But I do need to put some piece of fabric in between and then just give it a hot press. But I thought I don't want to risk rushing it and burning a hole in it. So as you can see, it finishes the sort of hip, just below my hips. And there is a version which is the cropped length, and it just stops here. So the beach cover up has that extra sort of coverage there, and it has the grown on sleeve, and there is a cuff that you put on, and it normally it's just folded up, but because this fabric is so floppy, I have just top stitched it down. And I've made the dress version of this before in a viscose, and I had to do the same with that, and then stitch those sort of cuff bits down because they don't finish that great. So it does just wrap over the side which wraps like underneath, It has a piece of elastic and then you sew a button onto the inside seam at the waist here, and so that just stretches and attaches that, and then you have the waist ties that you just put on, so it just ties at the front. It doesn't like wrap around the back or anything. I think it gives quite a good shape to it. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think I made the size 16 and didn't make any adjustments. Or did I make the 14? I don't think I wrote this down either. Oh, I made the size 16. I did a straight 16 and I didn't shorten it. I haven't altered it in any way, so normally I shorten everything at the waist. I didn't on this. I think it fits me. I didn't on this. I mean, it is the way I'm tying the waist ties. I feel like that's sitting on a natural waist and the sort of peplum bit is slightly below it. So perhaps I could have shortened it 1 inch to the waist, but I think it's fine. Nice loose fitting. I thought I really wanted to try this pattern out, and I thought if I like it then I can make it into a viscose for the summer, because the dress version I've worn and it's really hot, and because you've got nice wide open sleeves it's quite breezy to wear, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be too sort of revealing and sort of coming undone without wearing anything underneath it, but I think it's absolutely fine. The print is just don't know what they are. They almost look like little frogs, I don't know, like little creatures or something. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you, that was my second make, and these were the shirt and this one here. They're ones that I started to do I think early February, and they were just hanging around because I needed to put the buttons on the Melilot, and then I needed to put the bias binding around this one, and they were just hanging around, and I hate having unfinished projects. And normally I only do one project at a time, but I had 2 on the go and then 2 which were unfinished, and I didn't want to start anything else until I'd finished them, so I'm quite proud of myself for actually finishing them. Now I've got some new fabrics to show you, and I did buy them all together with a kind of an outfit combination theme in mind. So sticking to my colour palette, I still have more blues. So I have 2 blues here, but then I bought a caramel colour, and this is not one of my colours at all. It's a warm colour and I'm cool toned, but this is one way that you can wear things which aren't from your colour palette, and so you wear them on the bottom half. So I thought these would make some nice trousers. Now I have had so many fails with trying to make trousers, I've kind of given up, but then I had the Viki sews pattern, and they were a really good fit around the crotch area and the back of the leg. They're quite wide on the leg, but I think I'm just going to use that as a base and then perhaps slim down. It was like the knee, there's a lot of fabric around the knee and down my shin. I'm going to try slimming them down a bit more, and if they work out okay, I got the stretch cotton from First for Fabrics. I couldn't remember how much I would need, so I ordered 2.5 meters, and it is it shiny? I'm trying to think. Oh, now I'm sort of looking at it. It has been washed. When it first came, it looked really shiny. So it's slightly duller on this side, but it's got that little bit of stretch to it. And I thought, so just imagine these are not around my face. This is like, you know, around there. I got a cotton jersey. This is one of those Stoff of Denmark. Cotton jersey, so it's quite a thicker one, but it's a really nice quality because I've used this in black and I've used the other before. So I thought the blue t-shirt and the caramel trousers like that, and then Tamlin from Sewn on the Time, so she works and does the social media for First for Fabrics, and she said, does anybody want to sort of see anything? And I said I wanted to see some plain trouser fabric, and I never would have gone for a caramel, would have gone like black or navy, but I thought actually step out of my comfort zone and I'll do something else, buy something I wouldn't normally buy. But she also been showing this viscose seashell, and I just thought this, some kind of like summery blouse with like the caramel trousers. I thought that was quite a nice combination. Brighter colours, but not too pale that you've got to worry about being see-through, or like what do you go wear with them. I just thought the combination of these colours I thought that was quite a nice, that's not something I would normally go for, but I'm really excited to make these up. This will probably be a tried and true Lark tee, perhaps in the boat neck option. This one I got 1.5 meters of, so I'm thinking, I haven't made it, I've cut out and I've got it ready to sort of make up to twirl, the Rae top by Tessuti Patterns, and that's one I bought. Did I buy that this month? Or did I think I might have bought that this month actually. I'll check in a minute. And then these trousers, but I want to just work on the fit slightly on the black pair that I've shown in one of my previous videos, and just work on that, and then hopefully make those into some trousers. Now, talking of bullet journals, yeah, I am sort of fiddling because it's well, I haven't done it tight enough, but I think because it's quite a flimsy fabric, I think it would be, I'm just constantly adjusting, so I think a little vest top underneath would sort of sort that issue out. Right, let's have a look. So I have my bullet journal, and like I've said before, I've seen people on Instagram showing all their fancy bullet journals and everything. This is mine for February. There we go, February. So nothing special. I'm not artistic, I can't draw at all. But it's really just to keep track of what I'm sewing, any alterations, what I'm buying as well. So I have my purchases here. So I put down which patterns I've bought and which fabrics I've bought. Now there are some patterns that I haven't written down which I need to. So I will just refer to my phone for those, and they are special patterns. So I will do them at the end of running through this, and you'll understand when I get there. So for the month of February, for fabric, I spent, or let's just break it down. So first of all, I bought the Cozy Colour sweatshirting. So that was to make a Billy sweatshirt, and I did make it. So I did make it in February, and that I bought 1.5 meters, and that cost me £21.71. I then bought ribbing, because stupidly I didn't realise at the time that, because there was a discount, there was a 14% discount going on with So UK, and then I should have contacted Katie at the shop and said, do you have any ribbing to match? I didn't, and then she commented something on my Instagram, and then I was like, do you have any ribbing? She's like, yeah, I do have a ribbing. This one here is a really close colour, so I was like, can I order that? She graciously let me have that at the 14% discount as well. So sweatshirting, £21.71. Ribbing cost me £8.50 because I bought a metre of that. I then got the visco, so the seashell viscose, 1.5 meters of that. I got the cotton jersey t-shirting, got 1 meter of that, and the stretch cotton trousers, 2.5 meters of that, which that came to £48.25. And I bought those three because I had a £50 birthday present. And so I thought, before that gets spent on groceries, I'm going to buy some fabric with it. So the total spend on fabric for February was £78.46, but £50 of that I had birthday money to spend towards it. So that's why I spent a bit extra that month. In terms of patterns, I bought the Rae top, which was on a buy one get one free. So I really wanted the Lois dress. I was looking at the Lois dress, and I was eyeing up the Eve dress, which later on Sew Over It put for International Women's Day. They put the Eve dress on at 50% off, but I'd already bought the Lois dress. So I was like, okay, I wanted a V-neck, and I was sort of looking for certain style lines. I thought that looks quite good. So I bought the Lois dress, and then I bought the Rae top as well because it was buy one get one free. So the top, there's a top, and then the other one is a dress. So 2 for 1 was £8.24. That was on the exchange rate. So that's how much it cost me for those two patterns, £8.24. So I thought that was quite good. And so I also got the Lois dress printed. I went to print the Rae top, and I printed that at home myself. Used up, my husband I think is moaning because I've used up all the ink, all the black ink. But the Lois dress, I went to print it out, and there was 3 files, and it was going to be over like 96 pages because I think instead of printing things and then you cut them on the fold, they're printing them, set it so you print out the whole thing. I sent it off to Fabuloso, and that cost me £8.10. So the total spend on patterns including printing this month was £16.34. Now I do have some special patterns. So let me just grab my phone, and then I can link on screen. I'll link down below everything, all the patterns and the fabrics, but I have some special ones that I just wanted to highlight. I wasn't sure what I could do to help with the situation in Ukraine. I really felt affected by it, like a lot of you have as well. And then I saw on Instagram, somebody said this is a way we can support independent sellers who just have a small sideline, a small hobby business perhaps, or maybe it's their main business. And we can buy some patterns from them, which are digital downloads, get an instant download so the person at the other end doesn't need to do anything. And it's a way of putting money in an individual's pocket. Obviously there are organisations, and you know, like a lot of you, I've been able to help in that way, but this is just an extra little way, and I think if a lot of people do it, then it all adds up and it can really impact somebody. Sorry, there's a lot of helicopters flying about today. But yes, I will link down the pattern. So these are 3 patterns that I chose, and one was a no ties apron pattern. And actually I think this would be quite handy because I wear an apron for work every day, and I feel like it tugs on my neck because of when you tie it around your waist. I feel like it's like pulling my neck down. So this one is one of those ones that crosses over it, so it sits on your shoulders. So I think that's quite a nice, you know, it takes the sort of pressure off. So I saw that one, and again I will put all these down below, so if you want to check them out, or the sellers have so many other patterns, and there are so many sellers. And I'll just show you, if you go onto Etsy, you can do it on an app, or you can do it on your laptop. And so go onto the Etsy site, look up, if you just type in, say, digital sewing patterns, you can then, in one of the filters, you can put the country location. So you can buy from a specific country. So if you put Ukraine in there, then it'll come up with Ukrainian sellers. And there's so many. I mean, Stephanie Farrell Focus over on her Friday sales last week, she bought some patterns for like bunnies. And dolls, which would actually be really good for Easter decorations, I think. But I was thinking quilts, because I've thought about making a Christmas quilt, and then I saw this from Sasha's Quilts, and again I'll put these up, and I thought it was quite a very contemporary sort of version of a Christmas tree. I have no idea if I'm definitely going to make this, but the fact that I've been able to buy the pattern, if I can make it, then obviously it helps promote it, and then other people might want to buy it as well, so that would be really good. It's just finding the time, but I bought it for now. And then the other one I bought, I don't know how to do embroidery really, but I just thought this looks a really nice one of like lavenders, and I thought that's quite a nice spring decoration, and it didn't look too complicated. So that's just 3 that I wanted to highlight. I would encourage you to help where you can. Also, just to have a look and check out those patterns. They have all sorts of things, covering all range of things. There's loads of cross stitch on there as well. I'm not really a cross stitcher, I still haven't finished my Christmas one from like 6 months ago. But yes, it's one way that we can help, and it might seem frivolous to some, but I think if that's money in somebody's pocket, that could help them, and every little helps. So I think that's quite a good thing. If you disagree, then please just keep those comments to yourself. Anyone who puts any hate speech down will be reported to YouTube. I have had to do that recently, unfortunately, and you will be blocked. So we want to keep this as a positive space, and just an encouraging space where we can encourage each other in sewing, and just support each other generally when we're all feeling perhaps a bit stressed at the moment. So I hope that you've got a weekend plan of some fun sewing to do. I'm so grateful that the sky, we have blue skies at what time? At 10 past 5 on a Thursday evening. And so I think spring, certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, spring is definitely on its way, and it's warming up. So I hope that you are having some great plans of what you're going to make. And so I will see you in my next video.